Hi crew! Today we are going to talk about using close reading strategies to solve math word problems. Now when you see close reading, that means that you're going to examine word problems very carefully to make sure that you have the information you need, that you know what the question is asking, and that you answer all of the questions that are being asked. In this video today, we have 3 objectives. The first objective is that you will learn close reading strategies. So you'll learn how to examine word problems very carefully. The second objective is that we will practice expectations for independent work time. Independent also means by yourself. So without your group or your tribe. And the third objective is that students will practice decimal operation application word problems. So when we say decimal operations, that means addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. And we're going to use those decimal problems and we're going to look at them in word problems rather than just by themselves. So let's get started with our first objective and talk about how we use close reading in math. We're going to follow a 4-step process here. And the first thing we're going to do when we encounter a word problem is we are going to read the entire problem. And that's what we're going to do. Just read through the whole problem so we get familiar with what it's asking us to do. The second time, so we're going to read through it a second time. We're going to underline the question. And it might be even questions, so we'll put a little S there. Make sure you have this sheet out in front of you and you are following along and you're filling in the blanks. The next step is to number the steps. If there's more than one step you need to take to solve the problem. Sometimes kids will just look at the first step and only do that, and then they'll skip other parts. All right, the third time you read through a problem, you need to circle information or numbers that will help you answer the question, and you need to box any actions you need to take to solve the problem. So things you circle might be like numbers in the problem or any other information you think you need to solve the problem. And then box would be if it asks you to create a number line or draw a picture. So any actions you need to take. At this point, you'll want to use your notes to look up any strategies or vocabulary. You have been taking amazing notes in class, and you should use those great notes that you've taken. And the last thing you'll do is to solve the problem after that. And then the very last thing you're going to do is to reread the problem to make sure that you have answered the question, or I guess we should say questions, if there's more than one. So let's get going, and let's look at this first problem we have here. We're going to look at several problems about LMS teachers. So several LMS teachers are very busy ordering supplies and working with students in after-school activities. Use the close reading strategies above to answer the questions below. I'll make sure we can see both things. There we go. So the first time I read this through, I'm just going to read the problem. And this says, Ms. Slade is planning an art project for the 6th graders. She ordered 1 25/100 or 1 1/4 gallons of yellow paint, 5/10 or half a gallon of blue paint, and 1 125,000 or 1 1/8 gallons of red paint. How much paint did she order? And write a number sentence to accompany the problem. All right, so we accomplished our first read. Let's go to our second read where we're going to underline the question and number the steps if there's more than one step we need to take. So let's read through this again. Ms. Slade is planning an art project for the 6th graders. She ordered 1 2/25 gallons of yellow paint, half a gallon of blue paint, and 1 125,000 gallons of red paint. How much paint did she order? Okay, there's a question there, so I'm going to underline this. How much paint did she order? And that's the first thing we need to take care of. And then write a number sentence to accompany the problem. And that's the second thing that we need to take care of. So there's 2 steps. Okay, we got through our second read. And I'm thinking, because the question is how much paint did she order? I'm thinking this is an addition problem. Okay, let's go to our third read where we're going to circle important information and we're going to box any actions we need to take. So let's read through this again. Ms. Slade is planning an art project for the 6th graders. She ordered 1 2/25 gallons of yellow paint. I'm going to circle this. That's important information I need to figure out how much paint did she order. Half a gallon of blue paint. Let's circle that. And 1 125,000 gallons of red paint. That's another piece of information I need to answer the question, how much paint did she order? Okay. Then it says, how much paint did she order? Okay, that's a question. And then we have write a number sentence. This is an action that we need to take to solve the problem. Write a number sentence to accompany the problem. All right, we got through our third read. Now we're ready to solve the problem. So I notice it says, how much paint did she order? So I'm going to add together all of my values. I also saw write a number sentence to accompany the problem. So I'm going to add 1 2/25 gallons, 5/10 gallon, and 1 125,000 gallons, all right, equals the amount of paint ordered. Now, sometimes we also call a number sentence an equation. So you might be familiar with that word as well. Okay, I'm going to line up my place values so I can add together this problem. Okay, so my first value, that was the yellow paint. My second value, which is the blue paint. And my third value, gotta fix that, which is the red paint. Now, just to help myself out a little bit, I'm going to add in some zeros just to help me line up my place value. This is optional, but it's just helpful for me. Okay, now add all these together. Starting in the thousands place, 0 plus 0 plus 5 is 5. Now I'm going to move to the hundredths place. 5 plus 2 is 7. Now the tenths place, 2 plus 5 plus 1 is 8. Now to the ones place, and that's 1 plus 1 is 2. Okay? And I'll write my answer down here at the bottom. So if anyone's looking at my work, they can easily find my answer. But I also showed all of my work as well. All right. Let me read through the problem one more time. Do that 4-3 to make sure I answered the question. Ms. Slade is planning an art project for the 6th graders. She ordered 1 125 gallons of yellow paint, 5/10 gallon of blue paint, and 1 125,000 gallons of red paint. How much paint did she order? I answered that question. and write a number sentence to accompany the problem. We also answered that question. Awesome, so we are finished and we have a complete problem here and we have shown our work. All right, you have problems 2 and 3 that you may complete by yourself. Remember that our second objective was how to do independent work time. So right now it's important that you have your work in front of you and you have a pencil out and you are working all by yourself right now. That means you're not talking with anybody else, you're not distracting anybody else, you're not being distracted by somebody else, but you're doing your very own work. Now, if you finish the problems on the second page, go ahead and move to the last page where you can write some of your own problems. For this last part today, I would like you to pull up one of the math problems that you have been working on. That could be number 2 or number 3 or number 4 or number 5. And we're going to take a selfie. This is a math selfie, so it's a little bit different. Do you see Woody there taking a picture? Isn't he so cute? So, selfie stands for 6 things that you should make sure that you have in your work. And the first thing, I want you to look over the problem that you chose, and I want you to make sure that you showed your work. If you only have an answer, then we have no idea how you got your answer, or even if you did your work yourself. So make sure you showed your work. If you showed your work on the problem in front of you, put a big S. All right, for your second thing, please make sure that you explained your answer. So if you did all of your steps and someone could easily follow your work, go ahead and put an E on your paper. For the next one, lots of math vocabulary used. Now today you didn't have to write any explanations, but if there's a day where you need to write an explanation, make sure that you're using precise vocabulary so people know exactly what you're talking about. So for example, instead of saying, I just put all the numbers together, you might say, I found the sum of the numbers. So you're being very precise. If needed, if you needed to find multiple ways to get your answer, then you did that. I know you guys are amazing. You have amazing perseverance. So you persevered through the problem. So even if it was hard, you worked really hard, which is amazing. And the last one is that you eliminated careless errors. So if you eliminated careless errors, go ahead and put an E on your page. Hopefully you have written an S-E-L-F-I-E on your paper, and you have 6 steps, okay? And that's what we're looking for when you answer math problems. All right, so let's look a little bit at our objectives. I'm going to cross this last one off just because we didn't talk about that one today. And the first one is that students will learn close reading strategies. I want you to think, do I understand close reading strategies? The second one is students will practice expectations for independent work time. Did you practice expectations for independent work time? Did you keep to yourself when you were supposed to work by yourself and not distract others? Did you do your very best work? And the last one is students will practice decimal operation application word problems. And hopefully you got through several of those problems today and you got a lot of practice. Thanks for listening.